Hi, everybody. Here I am back in a car that's sort of cool for the moment, but as my windows open, it's heating up again. I hope you are all well. Last weekend, I went to two summer events in Kent and in Cornwall. And in Kent, I was at the 45 on Main, had a birthday party at which they had a dunk tank in which I and a bunch of other people participated. And so I got dunked by at least a dozen times by some kids with some very strong arms and a lot of other people in the community, as did a bunch of others who joined in for that as well. And then later in the day, I was at July Fest in Cornwall, where they cranked out the fire hose and sprayed all of us, and I got wet all over again. And I was thinking about that because, of course, later that day, things got pretty sober, and we had an assassination attempt on former President Trump. Thankfully, a not successful attempt, and with only minor injuries to him. Unfortunately, a spectator was killed. That's a sobering moment, and it, for me, kicked in. As you all know, I was a federal prosecutor in my earlier life. And so these kinds of events, I know the Secret Service well, not the personal protection part of it, but the part that does counterfeiting and other federal crimes. And so I thought for a minute about, I was thinking about that, getting doused and keeping cool in hot times, and how to react to something like that event with a cool head, and not to take, not to be an investigator, to take a pause, not to immediately come to conclusions that reinforce your biases, but instead listen to people, try to figure out how it happened, take a clear-eyed look at how to solve the problem, how to immediately, take a look at the immediate situation and figure out how it happened, but also look more broadly at, certainly I am also, as part of the training as federal prosecutor, declared an oath to the Constitution and to the country, not to any particular person, but to the rule of law, and to the accountability for everyone under the rule of law, and to resolving disputes in a peaceful, fair, open forum, in which everybody gets heard. And, again, not to, just enforce the hot conclusion that comes to you in the moment, but to try to reflect on how we got where we are. It is, the importance of having, I hope that it should not tell us that we're supposed to turn inward and only then read news sources that agree with our own biases. But in fact, we show up in community and talk to your neighbors and find joy and community with one another, and do public spirited action, participate in political conversation even when it's uncomfortable. It is so important that we don't take the conclusion from this that we're not allowed to criticize anyone anymore, but we need to have those conversations. We need to practice on how to have them without using violent rhetoric, and to, figure out how to get to a solution that respects, everyone who's trying to express their opinion. So I hope that's the conclusion that we take from this, that we can, we don't shut down the conversation, but that encourages us to stand up and be out amongst one another, as we have lots of other events coming up. Of course, the Cornwall Rummage Sale is coming up this weekend, and the Carnival of Canaan Railroad Days is also coming up this weekend. I drive past the setup all the time, so that looks like it's coming into action. I will also be away. My annual trip with my family to a lake in New Hampshire is coming up next week. So, there may not be a video newsletter next week, depending on events. But I hope you're able to, jump in a body of water, stay cool, talk to your neighbors, and take care of each other. See you soon.